and gentlemen, we're live. If you guys are just coming in, please skip forward like a few minutes or so because I need to share this with people. You already know. You already know how it goes. Because you guys have been with me. You guys are my supporters, and I love you. And you love me. That's how we do. Okay. Add that to my story. Send this to certain people. Uh, okay. Uh, hold on. As you guys are coming in, tell me how you doing. Tell me how you doing. How you doing? How you doing? Okay. Okay. Just don't mind me. Okay. Let's see. Take some of this. Okay. I'm just waiting for people to come in. Waiting for people to come in. Waiting for people to come in. Text my brother. Yes, I have a brother. Yes, I do. All right. Nobody's in here yet, or at least it doesn't. Is for some reason it does not show when people are really in here. Like my numbers are always thrown off, so I just have to do what I can and then hope for the best right now. So if you guys can just give me 1 second. Oh, this shirt, my baby sister got me this shirt. This shirt was a birthday gift. My sister got this for me. It's apparently she thought I was gonna become very fat in a very short amount of time, so she got me a really big one. And I appreciate and love this shirt so much. This shirt is very special to me. I love it dearly. I will be right back. Just a second. Okay. I'm back now. Now, people. Hopefully, you guys. Hopefully, some people have seen me so far. I don't know. Not sure. But with all due time, people will come in. But until then, I'm on a tight schedule a little bit today, so we're gonna have to get this started. I might have to make a part two because it is so. You see this microphone I got? Super cool, right? That's another gift. Okay. I'm all over the place. I was just running around, but I'm here now. So the video for this evening is going to be about the conservative coons. Okay. I've been meaning to make this video for a while. Now, specifically in this video, we're going to be talking about like the Trump supporters, the people who believe in the white ring, the conservative. Because okay, let me break this down. Both conservatives, Republicans, And liberals, Democrats are both racist. Okay? Left wing, right wing, doesn't matter. Still the same bird, that's white supremacy. I'm going to make a series breaking these coons down, but for the first video, I felt that it was important to talk about the conservative ones, okay? Because that's the ones that are most recognizable. These are the ones who defend the police, who defend white people, who point the finger at black people. Now, most black people don't take them serious. So why are they so important? If you see all these conservative, black conservative people, they have like millions of followers on YouTube, millions of followers on TikTok or whatever. Hold on for 1 second. Okay. Sorry, somebody said my microphone. Okay. Hopefully this will work. Okay, so they have millions of followers on different profiles, right? They have millions of followers on their Facebook pages, their YouTube pages, their all that stuff. And they're backed up and supported and funded by white people. Now, why do white people do this? White people do this because they know their ideologies, they know their mentality is racist. But they can't say, because the name of the game is to hide racism. It became, and I've said this in several videos I've had in the past, after the civil rights movement, racism became a thing where, okay, you have to kind of hide it now. You can't be super open with it anymore. So what you have to do is you have a black person say something racist on your behalf. That is why they are so important, because black people saying on their behalf. Their thing is now they're saying, okay, America is completely fine. We were racist in the past, but really it was the Democrats that were. Now here's the thing. They say America is not racist. America is not racist. It's all about the individual. There is no racial bias in America whatsoever. And once you break down that, okay, there is racial bias in America, then they'll say, okay, well, yeah, that's true, but it's really the Democrats. But their thing is to deny racism, to deny white supremacy, and to deny white privilege. So I'm going to go through a couple of videos, and we're going to be debunking these together. Now, I have to give a full shout out to the creators of these videos, so I do not get a strike, because I do not want, anytime I do these things while I'm using the YouTube clips or whatever, it's not like a strike, but it's like a copyright claim. Even though I know my videos will probably never get monetized due to the content I make, but that's fine. But the first person we're going to go and debunk, he was an officer named Brandon Tatum. He used to be an officer. He's a black police officer. Now let me tell you why he is so big. Because he is black and he defends the police. White people like that so much. I apologize. White people like that so much because when a white person does something racist to a black person, that white person's everybody's gonna be like, okay, of course you're gonna defend it. You're white. You're defending white people. So that's racist. So what they do is they, if a black person does it, no matter what a black person says, then they'll say, well, a black person says it, so it can't be racist. How can he be racist if he's black? He can't be racist if he's black. So they'll have their black ass kissers. They'll have their black people, they're like puppets, bootlegs. So they'll talk on behalf of the racist white person, and the racist white person gets to cover behind the black person and say, well, it's a black person saying it, so it can't be racist. It can't be racist because black people can't be racist to other black people. So if a black person says anything, it can't be racist. even if what they're saying is not correct. Now, these people, these black conservatives, are not smart at all. Almost everything they say is wrong and stupid, but it's the fact that they're playing the game for white supremacy, okay? And they know they are. These people aren't confused. These people aren't dumb. These people aren't tricked. These people know what they're doing, but they know they'll get some benefits because their white supremacy's cover for continuing their racism. Because as long as they're around, a racist person can say, look, I have a black friend over there, and he agrees that the cops were justified with shooting him. He agrees that black on black crime you guys need to focus on that. Oh, my black friend, he agrees that rap music is the reason why all you are thugs, or all you are in poverty. They do that. That's why they have these selected, hand-picked coon conservatives that have millions of followers, and millions of those people are not black. These people have like 1 million followers, and like 80% of them will be racist white folks. And they're like, yeah, of course, I totally agree with you. Not because of what they're saying is true or makes any sense, because they are black and they are saying something that is going to benefit white people. I've said this a few times, that white supremacy is really like a religion. You do not have to be white to. You do not have to. Let me rephrase that. Okay, you do not have to be white to have the ideology and the belief of white supremacy. You do not have to. Let me repeat that. You do not have to be white to have the ideology and the belief and act on that of white supremacy. What these people are doing is these people are giving cover for white supremacists and to keep the status quo in place. Now, remember in my last live, I showed you about the racial hierarchy. I showed you the racial hierarchy. So, let me get into this guy right here. This is Officer Brandon Tatum. Now, he has like, what, almost 2 million, let me see. 160 million, almost 2 million followers on YouTube. He has almost 2 million followers on YouTube because he says a lot of conservative things, or he really talks about the police. He talks about politics a lot. I'm just kind of finding out about him. But he has all of those. Most of those people are white people because he always gives the shadow of the doubt to the police. He covers white people. He criticizes black people. He lies and uses the same racist talking points. And it's not that he's super smart or he's super knowledgeable. It's the fact that he is black and he is covering for white people. Now, this is one video. I'm going to only show one video because I don't want YouTube to give me a strike again or nothing. So, let's go to this one video. Now, this video is White Privilege, my A, and then it's Black, okay? By, what's his channel name? This is the Officer Tatum. So, this isn't my content. This is his content. I'm saying that for the sake of not getting a strike on YouTube. But here, just a little bit. We're only gonna do a little bit of this.
I was a white person, and they got judged because I got a huge discount on that.
Okay, here. I speeded it up a little bit. I'm slow it back down. All right.
I have this privilege from birth.
Now he is trying to deny that white privilege exists.
Stupidest thing that I've ever heard.
Okay.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Take this for example. I was the spokesperson of the Tucson Police Department when I had maybe 2 years on the police department. You tell me, I have never in the history of the police department ever heard of anybody being a spokesperson with 2 years on the department. I'm in front of the camera. My name is behind things that I've said, and I've been on the police department for 30 minutes.
Now, none of this
much.
debunks
That's how we
white
feel
privilege
in the police,
at all.
in the police realm. You're on for 2 years, bro. You're still a rookie. I ain't never heard a white person having that access to being a spokesperson of a police department that early.
Now, do you want to know why they had him on there speaking up for the police? It's because he's young, he's new, and he's black. So what I'm guessing, and I don't know which police department he worked for, but based off his videos, what I what I assume is that the police department has a history of racism, of anti-black racism, and they hired him on there, and he's sucking up to every white person, and they selected him to be the spokesperson, so a black face can come out there on the camera, and he can talk into the mic, and when he talks into the mic, the cameras will say, "Oh, well, this is a black person saying that the police department is not racist at all. He's fresh in there, he's new, he's young, and he's saying that all these white people are good white people." Okay? This does not disprove white privilege, even if he was on there, even if he was the best and he got in there for 2 years or whatever. But let's go. Oh boy. Okay.
You tell me, you name a white police officer that can get on TV and
Okay.
say that.
Hold on. Mind you, too. I don't mean to interrupt. Okay. Oh, he works for Token, Arizona. Okay. My uncle used to live in Arizona. Mind you, too, when these conservatives talk about white privilege does not exist, do you notice how most of the time they bring up anecdotal instances about how they specifically exceeded past a white person? So white supremacy, white privilege doesn't exist. They debunk that whole thing because of a specific instance that specifically happened to them that didn't happen to a white person. If I was in class and I had a grade, I had the same grade, I had like a 78%, and I wanted the teacher to curve that into an 80. And the teacher did it for me but didn't do it for a white person. Does that debunk white privilege or white supremacy? No, it doesn't. Notice that's what these conservatives say. He can't back up what he's seen, or what he can't prove he's seen something and hasn't seen anything. He's trying to say a whole system that can be proven that there is racial bias is debunked because him as an individual exceeded in a particular instance before a white person, or easier than a white person would. That is what he's trying to say, but let's keep going. Oh, Dylan, how you doing, brother?
They believe Black Lives Matter is ineffective. And I'll show you that same person that loses their job. Tell me what privilege that person has. I went and probably got one of the best deals possible on my house that I bought. I got it for a steal. I got the best deal probably in the whole community. I bought a house for 166 and it was worth 270 when it was built. The person who bought the house was a white person and they got jugged because I got a huge discount on that. Now, I bet they wondering how he get that deal. Mm-hmm. Somebody explain to me how I can name to you right now a whole bunch of white people that I know that are in debt through college, who have to pay to go to college.
Now here's something that I want you to know. He talks about this house that he bought and goes nowhere with that. He's like, I bought a good house for a great deal, and completely moves on. Okay, black people bought houses in Jim Crow. That doesn't mean anything. I got a good house. Us saying white privilege exists is not saying that every black person is homeless or broke and destitute. That's not what he's saying. I bought a good house. And then he just moves on. Okay? He says, I know a lot of white people that are in debt. There were poor white people during slavery. This is the argument that these conservatives make. Oh, there are white people who are poor. Nobody is saying that. These are the straw man arguments they make. Nobody is saying that all white people are rich. Nobody is saying that. There is a lot of poor white folks. There were poor white people during Jim Crow, and there were poor white people during slavery. There will always be poor white people. Are they poor because they are white, though? That is the point. No, they are not poor because they are white. Them being white is not a factor into why they are poor. They might be poor for a number of other reasons, but them being white is not one of them. He says, I know a lot of white people who are poor. Okay, I know a lot of black people who are poor. What does that prove? But okay, let's keep going.
On that. That's outrageous. I ain't got no student loan debt from my bachelor's degree. Not one. I was on full scholarship, and I know 70 other people who are on full scholarship in 100 and some different colleges. Probably 80% of them are black people.
Okay.
And you tell me that somehow white people have a privilege.
Now, okay, here's the thing. For those of you who might not be in college and might not know, scholarships are not exclusive to black people. Conservatives and white racist people bring that up. Oh, you can get a scholarship. First off, scholarships, full ride scholarships, are hard as hell to come by. They don't just be handing those out. And they're not exclusive to black people. White people get scholarships for damn near anything. Okay? So a black person got a scholarship. You don't know what it took for that black person to get a scholarship. And he says he knows. Now, mind you, he's saying he knows things. These are anecdotal things that he cannot prove. But if we take his word for it, and he knows a lot of black people who got scholarships, that's good for them. What does that prove, though? Does that prove white supremacy doesn't exist because black people got scholarships that white people could have got? Maybe it's because, now here's the thing, though. When white people have something over black people, it is white people work harder, white people are smarter, white people deserve it. When black people have anything over white people, it's you only got that because somebody had to hand that to you. You only got that because you're black and somebody had to hand that to you. You don't deserve it. White people, everything white people get, they deserve. If you get it as a black person, you don't deserve it as much as that white person does. You don't deserve it as much as that white person does. That's every argument that they make. Oh, he got a scholarship. Oh, okay. You don't know what he had to do to get the scholarship, but even if we're taking his word for it, but let's go.
I've heard hundreds of stories of people that I know tell me that they went to apply for a job, and because of affirmative action, that they would deny the job that they were more qualified than the other person who got it, who was a minority.
That's a lie. Okay, that's the biggest point I wanted to point out in the video. That is a lie. I've shown you how. Let me close this up. Let me close this up for a second. Sit right here. Okay. Now I'm gonna Google this. Who? Okay. Now, first off, I'm sorry about this. Affirmative action applies to damn near everybody. Affirmative action is not, and here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. So you know that black people are the most targeted people, that white supremacy only cares that black people succeed. They don't mind these other groups of people succeeding, and they don't mind these other groups of people doing well, because they are only bothered when black people succeed. Affirmative action applies to everybody. It does not even, it says raise the volume. Somebody keeps saying raise the volume. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, hold on. Let me see something. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me better now. Hopefully you can. I just got a new microphone, so it could be that, possibly. I don't know. Let me know if you guys hear something. Thank you, Essence. Affirmative action applies to minorities. Who are minorities? Pretty much everybody except a straight, rich, white man. That is everybody. And even straight, rich, white men can wiggle their way around and find their way to be a minority. Because minority is so vague now. Minority can literally mean anything now. It's not just black. It's not just a non-white person. It can be black. It can be non-white. It can be a woman, a white woman. It could be gay. It could be you got a disability. So all of these things, okay, I'm good. Thank you, Dylan. All of these things apply to affirmative action. Affirmative action is it applies everywhere. The reason why affirmative action was set up in the 1960s is because black people who were equally qualified, you guys can research this, you don't even have to take my word for it. Black people who were equally qualified were denied because white people were preferred. And these are major corporations. So affirmative action came in place to say, okay, if a black person is equally qualified for that position, you guys have a quota to hire equally qualified black people. You can't just you can't pass up equally qualified or even more qualified black people, because a lot of times the black people were more qualified. You can't pass up more qualified black people for the sake of white people. They use that and say, now black people are still the most unemployed people, despite the fact that they're saying everything a black person gets is through affirmative action, right? Black people are still the most unemployed. They use that, oh well, black people got this through affirmative action. Now, Brandon said that he heard 100 stories of, and I'm assuming this is a white person saying, oh, I got passed up because even though I was more qualified because of affirmative action. He's never heard that. Companies don't tell you, I'm sorry, sir, you were more qualified for this position, but because of affirmative action, we're going to have to hire a minority. Companies don't do that. If he did, and I'm pretty sure he has heard that, the reason that he's heard that from his white friends is because white people believe that they are to be the priority. They believe that they are to be first in line. They believe that first dibs belong to them. They deserve everything first. And if they don't get it first, it is unfair. They don't care that things are biased in their favor. But when they feel like things are fair, when they feel like I was not the priority, you didn't put me first, you didn't qualify, even if I was less qualified, I didn't go first, that's unfair. He's heard 100 stories that he cannot prove. He cannot prove one of these stories exist where a black person is hired that is underqualified to work a position a white person has applied for. Now, in my first video I ever made on this channel, debunking black on black crime, I gave you the statistics showing that white people who have a criminal record have a callback rate that are higher. Okay, I'll read that in a second. That are higher than black people with degrees. Let me repeat that. White people with a criminal record have a higher callback and hiring rate than black people with degrees and no criminal record. Okay? So white people are still the priority in America regardless. They use this affirmative action thing to say, well, if there's any racism, America is racist to white folks. Because America, I mean, we have most of the power. We just don't have all of it the way we should. It's a little too fair. There's fairness in some instances, and there shouldn't be fairness at all. It should be only me. They should get the scraps. If a white person applies for a job, it doesn't matter who else applies. The white person should get that job. Now, this shows right here. Hold on, let me pull it up. Make this a little bigger. What now? I know you guys can read, right? But I'm gonna read it for you. White women benefit most from affirmative action. Excuse me, I'm throat's a little dry. Hold on, let me drink a little water. Sorry, y'all. And are almost as fierce as opponents. Now, I'm not gonna read that article. I wasn't planning on doing that. White women. Now, affirmative action is supposed to help black people. It was designed to help black people who are qualified for jobs to have a fair chance of employment. They changed the word black and they put minority in there. So now affirmative action applies to minorities. Why that is dangerous is because who gets to determine who's a minority? Women are minorities. So even though she's white, she's still a minority, which is statistically incorrect because most of the people in America are white, and there are more women than men. So there are more white women than any number of people. White women are the highest group of people in America, so they wouldn't be a minority by any numerable instance. There's no way you can say that they are logically a minority, but somehow they are a minority. You're a minority if you're black, if you're Asian, if you're Hispanic, if you're a white woman. You're a minority if you have a disability. You're a minority if by your sexual orientation, by your gender identity. You're a minority by this, by this. Like, it is so vague what you can be a minority. Technically, Jeff Bezos is a minority. The 1% can be a minority. You can argue that the 1% is a minority. You can argue that Donald Trump is a minority. Do you see how this goes? The word minority can kind of mean anything. Most of the average height for a male in America is like what 6'8"? Not 6'8", like 5'8" or something. It's less than 5'10". Let's say it's 5'10". So our 6 feet people, they're minorities technically. Short people, they're minority. Like, do you see how that goes with minorities? That's why I keep saying in my videos we need to abandon that word because it's a tricky little loophole word that can mean anything. Excuse me. Let's go back to the officer for a few more minutes. I just wanted to get you guys a gist of how he talks and he operates. Hold on, let me shrink my screen a little bit. This is Officer Brandon Tatum. I don't think he's an officer right now, but I'm giving him full shout out, full credit for this video, so I don't get a strike on his video.
Listen, when you are born, how your success in life is dependent upon you. It's dependent.
Okay. Was it dependent if he was to tell the Central Park 5 that your success was dependent upon you? If he was to tell Emmett Till that his success was dependent upon him? If he was to tell, I mean, I can name so many instances, okay? But if he was to tell these people, all the people who are falsely incarcerated, that their success is dependent upon them, what would he sound like then?
Depending upon how much are you willing to put up with, how much are you willing to take into account, and how much you're willing to pursue your dreams and your goals.
Now, another thing too, and I keep pausing this guy. Notice how when he talks to black people and their shortcomings that black people have, it's always, you have to work harder. You have to work harder. Now, when black people excel beyond a white person or white people, it's you never hear anybody telling white people that white people need to work harder or anybody else needs to work harder. It's unfair. If a black person is ahead of a white person, it's because of affirmative action. It's because of a system that's unfair. If a black person is behind a white person, it's because that black person is not working hard enough and is not applying themselves. He would never say that to a white person, no. If a white person is behind a black person anyway, oh, America is just messed up. Where's our country going?
I don't want to hear you blatantly call people and say they have white privilege. That's like saying, and I will say this, and somebody wants to criticize me about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. That's like me getting up here saying all black people are thugs. You have a propensity to be a thug. And if police target you disproportionately, they're justified because statistics show that you are more likely to be a thug than a white person.
That's incorrect, but we'll get into that.
Per capita.
That's incorrect.
Somebody tell me a statistic that's different than that.
Okay. Thug means black criminal. Okay? That's what it means. They don't say that. Thug means nigga. Notice how the white media, the news, never calls white criminals thugs. Only black criminals. There's a negative word only used for black people. It's the new N word. When a white person calls you a thug, that's a nigga. That's what that means. Now he says statistically black people are more likely to be thugs. So let's look at these statistics, shall we? Let's look at these. Now I'm a numbers dude. I'm not always right, so I'm giving you the information so maybe you can pick. But let's look at it, all right? So, this is the FBI. This is according to the FBI right here. You see the seal and everything. This is 2019. These are the crimes. These are white people right up here. White. Hold on. Okay. Yep, white. Right up here. I don't know if you can see it. African American. We're just focusing on these two. Okay. So you see murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault. These are considered violent crimes. These are, now mind you, because they like to use this, black people are only 13% of the population, but you guys make over 50% of the crime. Now, this is just arrest. Arrest does not prove that you did anything wrong. Okay? If you look at the statistics, it evens out between who is actually called. The number of times police are called on white people are proportionate to their population. The number of times police are called on black people are somewhat proportionate. The numbers seem to be more proportionate. It's when the arrests are made that are disproportionate, especially with the sentencing. But let's pretend that, mind you, that these are the arrests. These are not convictions. These are not anything else. These are somebody called the police and they picked you up. This is what the FBI got. And the FBI only gets these from local departments that they collect information from. So these are not 100% legitimate. The FBI doesn't even say they are. But even if we are, okay, let me enlarge this for you so you can see it a little bit better. Because I know you probably can't see it that well. I'm gonna just hide my face for a little bit. So as you can see, let me zoom in a little bit more. Right? Now look at the murder rate. You see black is at, now this is total 100%. Now out of 100%, white is at 45.8. Black is at 51.2. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, that is not a very big difference. White people talk about black people's crime rate all the time as if their crime rate is significantly lower than ours. And this is just murder. The murder arrest. And black people get picked up for murders we didn't commit all the time. So even if this was legitimate, this is not even an 8% difference. Okay? This is not even an 8% difference. This is not even a full 6% difference. Okay? Now murder is at the top. Now what's under murder? Rape. White people commit, or at least are arrested, because I'm not going to switch my words. This is 69.8% of the of arrest on white is rape versus 26 43.7. So white people rape over twice as much as black people do. Now let's look over here. Robbery. Now you can see robbery. Now black people live in poor neighborhoods, which cause them to unfortunately rob more, or so they say, because all of this is alleged, is not proven. Okay, robbery 44.7, 52.7. Now look at this, aggravated assault. White people beat black people almost double in aggravated assault. Okay, so when you add these four things up, which is what they don't, which is they know to do this, but they don't do this. They don't do this for the reason of, hold on, let me shrink this thing so I can show you the next video coming up. They don't do this because they know per capita white people commit more crimes than black people. White people are more likely to be thugs based off of these numbers that they like to bring up. When they talk about violent crimes, they like cherry pick the murder rate and leave the rape rate alone, leave the aggravated assault rate alone, leave all these other crime rates alone, and they just see, look at that murder rate. Even though we technically, and this is just arrest, it's only like a 6% difference. Now, of course, they would say, oh, black people are much smaller in the population, so it's disproportionate to our population size. But the thing is this, these are just arrests. These are just arrests. This doesn't prove anything. So you know, but this is what they'll say. So I want to show you something else. I've introduced you guys to Mr. Tatum. I'm gonna show you this real quick. Now this is from the channel Jubilee. Now they do this like middle ground things where they have one person who has, or one side who has a political belief and another side who has a different political belief, and they kind of go back and forth about it. I'm going to show you some certain things that now these are conservatives and Trump supporters.
Say that again. Liberals on the left, conservatives to the right. Okay. If you agree with the prompt, you'll walk forward. If not, you'll stay back. People need to get over slavery.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I started off. I mean, we all know that slavery was a terrible thing. Yes. It was an atrocity.
Okay, hold on. Now let me, because I speeded it up when I was doing the thing. So there we go.
Human tragedy, but we can't just be talking about slavery every day. It ended in 1865. This is 2020. We got to press forward. Our ancestors, they went through a lot. They died for us to be able to be here right now.
Yes.
And the best country on planet Earth.
Yes.
Take advantage of what we have right now, rather than looking in the past and saying, oh, well, what was me because of slavery?
Right.
You know, there have been other groups of people in slavery all throughout the world. They can't just stay in that state. So people, a lot of times, they stay right in that place, and others are being able to pass them because mentally they've moved on while others have not.
They constantly use slavery.
Now, before, let me address what he just said. Have you guys ever heard of the Jewish community talking about we need to get over the Holocaust? The Holocaust happened so many years ago. Let's move past that. Don't you guys say, doesn't America say never forget 9/11? How does 9/11 affect us today? I mean, didn't that happen years ago? How does that still affect us today? Why are we still talking about it today? It's only when something happened to a black person where, okay, let's just forget about that. That's not important. Come on, let's move past that. Yeah, it was bad, I guess. Even though, yeah, technically white people still benefit from it. And you can watch my other videos to find that research out. Even though white people still benefit from it. And even though you're still technically oppressed. But, you know, let's just forget about it. It ended such a long time ago. Now, another thing, too. When we talk about foundational black Americans, the reason why we have such a disconnect with the African diaspora is because a lot of them, and I'm not saying that all of them are bad at all. I have friends all over the world, really. But a lot of them that come over here, they have a perception of black people in America that white people fed them. They have a perception of black people in America that white people fed them, that black people are lazy, black people are less than, so they come over here and they don't experience the microaggressions and stuff like that in their home country that black Americans experience here. Black Americans constantly look at the racism every day, on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Even if you haven't experienced racism, you know somebody who has. As a black person, you know somebody who's experienced racism. You, as a black person in your family or in your friend group, who has. It's not hard to find a black person who say, yeah, I've been harassed by the police, I've been discriminated before, I've been followed around in the store before. Black people make jokes about it. That's how often it happens. Other people, other black people from other countries, they don't have the experience of walking in the store and being followed around the entire place. So when they come to America, they are like, man, what is wrong with you guys? Why can't you guys do great? Why can't you guys do great? They don't take into consideration the fact that black people are sabotaged with redlining and the Highway Act and loan discrimination and all housing discrimination, job discrimination. They're not taking those things into consideration. They're listening to their white saviors because they're thinking like, oh, I was in this third world country and white people allowed me to come to a better country, and you guys are hating on white people. I love these white people. So a lot of, and I'm not saying all black immigrants are like that, but I'm saying that that is a big reason why there is a disconnect between black Americans and other black people from the diaspora. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because I can notice their accent. I notice their accent.
To put them in a victim mentality. We can't accomplish this because you enslaved my ancestors. Slaves were taught English. Slaves were taught how to become managers and secretaries and cooks and chauffeurs and
hold on. I just thought that was funny. I'm gonna take it back. She's saying that white people taught black people how to cook. White people taught black people how to cook, according to her. And then they all got amnesia and forgot their teachings. And now black people know how to cook and white people don't. I guess that's what she's saying. White people taught black people how to become managers, chefs, secretaries. Now, this is the whole thing that black people should be grateful for white people, because whitewash history teaches that white people were so much more advanced than everywhere else in the world that everybody else is like blessed that white people enslaved them. It's like an act of God. It's like it's almost like an act of God himself that he allowed white people to come and conquer you, murder your people, rape your people, enslave your people for your own benefit. That's their mentality. That's what they believe. Okay? We should be grateful for that. Black people, and this is from a historical standpoint. This is not my bias or anything. You can look this up in several articles, several books, several scholars, all that stuff. You can do your own research. You don't even have to take my word for it. Black people have always historically had their civilizations been more advanced. Black people's civilizations have always been way, way, way more advanced than white people's civilizations, okay? If you look at Rome and you look at Egypt, you look at all these other countries in Africa, there are pyramids all over the world, except Europe. They say that Europe, with the kings and queens that didn't want to take a shower, were more advanced than everywhere else. But they don't have pyramids, and everywhere else does. Black people have things that we've built centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries ago that people today don't even know how they did it back in that time. Black people were more architecturally advanced, more scientifically advanced, more advanced with medicine, more advanced with everything. White history teaches that white people were just so advanced, living in these big castles with big kingdoms and sophisticated societies and whatever, and their black people should be grateful that we've learned sophistication through white people. Okay, that's what she's trying to teach you. But let me take it back.
They constantly use slavery to put them in a victim mentality. We can't accomplish this because you enslaved my ancestors. Slaves were taught English. Slaves were taught how to become managers and secretaries and cooks and chauffeurs and how to build water tanks and all sorts of things. We're here now.
Okay. All right. I really think, honestly, colonialism didn't teach us anything because we came from a society that was living and running. So I don't think we need to get over slavery. I think we need to talk about the repercussions of it, like generational trauma, like the system that exists because of it. I don't think we should use it as a crutch as for ambivalence, or yeah, to hold yourself back.
Now, here's the thing. I agree. I agree with what he's saying. We shouldn't use it as a crutch. Okay? We are the most capable people on the planet Earth. Always have been. Okay? We've overcome slavery to an extent. It's the fact that it's not as if it was slavery and then that's it, and we just can't get past that. It's constant, ongoing things that they are doing to undermine us to this very day. On top of slavery. I'm not saying it should be a crutch, but there's a line between us not letting that be a crutch, us saying, okay, I can't get anywhere because of slavery, and us saying slavery didn't affect us at all, doesn't affect us at all. There is a line. You can overcome an obstacle but still recognizing that you have an obstacle that other people don't have. If you're running a track and you notice you have hurdles, you can jump past those hurdles and still make it to the finish line, but you still recognize, yeah, there's hurdles in my way, and there's not hurdles in Mr. Johnson Christian, whatever his name is, the white dude's name, track. You know what I'm saying? You can still recognize slavery affects you, but still be successful. Nobody's saying that if you say slavery affects you, you're just doomed to this victim mentality. Now, hold on. 2. When a white person says that they didn't get a job, even though they were more qualified, you don't ever hear anybody say that's a victim mentality. You never hear anybody say to white people that's a victim mentality. That white people don't get, oh my God, that's a victim mentality. You don't ever hear anybody say that to white people. It's only the black people. But I'm going to let you, we're not going to play this whole thing at all, but.
The mindset as well. I think one of the most dangerous aspects of generational advancement is misinformation. I think a lot of young people, especially young men, especially young African American men and women, often have questions about why things are the way they are. Why do I get treated this way? Why has my mother gone through this? Why has my grandmother gone through this? Well, it all comes down to the repercussions of slavery. And so I think that just getting over something, I think is just absolutely ridiculous. And so when I hear people say that, especially fellow African American people and friends, I think it's ridiculous. Just getting over something.
Okay. Family. Now, I've said in my videos before, multiple videos, I've literally made a video about how slavery still affects us today. If you guys haven't seen it, I would advise you guys maybe make the time to watch it when you guys are free. After this video, put it on your watch later list and check that out. Because I break down exactly how slavery still affects black people today. These people don't know. They're talking about. I just feel like you just can't get over it because they don't really know how to articulate it like I did, which is why you guys should go watch that video when you have the time. It's in the channel, okay? So when you have the time, watch that video. But we're done for this. Now, on TikTok, TikTok is a huge app. Everybody, it's a lot of different people on TikTok. Now, you have some black conservatives on TikTok. These black people, and it's so bothering because they're young. These are young black people. And before anybody says they don't know any better, yes they do. They know better. They are doing what they are doing because they have sold their souls to white people. There are some black people. We have to recognize this. We have to recognize this. That would die for white people. That worship white people. That go to sleep, close their eyes, and secretly wish that they could wake up and they could be a fully Caucasian male or female in the morning. That is what they want. Okay? They hate themselves because they are black. I'm going to let you listen to this. This is one of the most self-hating things I've ever seen, I've ever heard. Okay? Listen to this right quick.
You know, I kind of find it weird when black Americans always bring up how their ancestors were enslaved in America, but they don't bring up the same fact how their ancestors were enslaved back in Africa. Where do you think the Europeans got the slaves from? Africans enslaved other Africans and sold them off to Europeans and Arabs, which these Europeans and Arabs brought them to different parts of the world. So in a weird way, you ought to thank the Europeans that they brought your ancestors to America, because you could have been stuck in Africa somewhere. So, I mean, I got U.S. citizenship and I'm in the greatest country in the world, so it kind of worked out in my favor.
Okay. Guys, okay. Let me play that again. Let me play it one more time in case you guys didn't hear it. All right? Let me play it one more time.
You know, I kind of find it weird when black Americans always bring up how their ancestors were enslaved in America, but they don't bring up the same fact how their ancestors were enslaved back in Africa. Where do you think the Europeans got the slaves from? Africans enslaved other Africans and sold them off to Europeans and Arabs, which these Europeans and Arabs brought them to different parts of the world. So in a weird way, you ought to thank the Europeans that they brought your ancestors to America, because you could have been stuck in Africa somewhere. So, I mean, I got U.S. citizenship and I'm in the greatest country in the world, so it kind of worked out in my favor.
Okay. People. Family. People. Listen. Let me make sure you guys can hear me very clearly. This man, this person, not a man, this person, goes on to say, in the beginning, pretty much why are black people mad at white people for slavery? For hereditary centuries of the most inhumane slavery that has ever existed on planet Earth. Why are black people mad? Because black people were slaves in Africa. Okay? They were slaves in Africa first, right? And that's how they got them. Listen. Slavery was all across the world. Okay? Were there African slaves? Yeah. There were. And there were Africans that sold them to Europeans. That is true. Did they know that what the Europeans would do with the African slaves? No, they did not know that. Okay, I can make another video on that. But no, they did not know that because that has never been done before in recorded human history. The transatlantic slave trade, the centuries of the transatlantic slave trade, you're a slave until you die. And any and all of your offspring are slaves. I can rape you, I can make you have sex with another slave, and if that slave gets pregnant, that is my child, that is my slave until that slave dies. I can kill you, I can do anything humanly possible. You have no rights at all. That was not done prior to the Europeans, okay? Then he's thanking white people for slavery. You can't get more coon than that. You can't get more coon than that. You cannot do that. You're thanking white people for slavery. Even most conservative black people are like, damn. Thinking, oh, it worked out in my favor. You know what's funny? Is I forget his name, but there was a black conservative who was all Blue Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. Why don't black people start respecting the police? And I think a month later, police shot him to death like 4 or 5 times, unarmed. So that cooning won't save you at the end of the day. I don't know if they think like maybe if I coon, I can be safe. Maybe I'm the safe Negro, so the police pull me over. They recognize me by my TikToks and let me go. And then I can say the police pulled me over and I didn't resist, so it's you niggas that's the problem? But no. He literally, I don't know what to say. He thanked them. Now this goes to the point where Europe was so much more sophisticated. The Moors, which are black people, had to teach Europeans how to bathe because they did not know how to do that. They thought that their filth, they thought that lice, bugs in their hair that would eat at their scalp, that lived in their hair, they thought that was like royalty to them. They did not bathe. They would eat raw food. You know how on cartoons you would have like a big plate, like a big table, and the family would gather around the table, and they would just start reaching and grabbing and eating as they reached and grabbed and stuff like that, like uncivilized animals. That's what Europeans used to do. Until the Moors taught them, like, hey, no, take a portion of that to yourself, eat that. When you're done eating that, you can get some more, but don't just be reaching and grabbing with your unwashed, dirty hands eating the food. The Moors taught them that. All of these are historical facts. They're not my opinion. You can look it up if you don't believe me. And if I'm wrong, you can check me about it. But these are facts. They didn't know how to do anything. They would have died from diseases. Do you know how many diseases that they had? They would have died from diseases had the Moors not taught them how to live like human beings. And he's saying thank you to those people who enslaved, raped, and oppressed your people for centuries of the most inhumane thing to ever happen to a group of people on planet Earth, because he gets to live in America. I don't know what to say. I don't. Another thing, then this half Nigerian, half white conservative is blowing up. She's trying to be, and they do this because they know they'll get clout by debunking white supremacy, because they know white people look for that little safe black coon Negro to hide behind, because they know, okay, if I say white supremacy doesn't exist as a white person, I would be looked at as racist. But if I get this self-hating, soulless, heartless, dumbass black person to say it on my behalf, nobody can say she's racist because she's black. So how can she be racist? It must be facts then. Oh, and then I haven't seen too much of her. But this is her biggest video. This is the video that had her blow up. Her channel blew up. This is her biggest video by far.
Ahead and debunk this whole white privilege thing. Is there a white entertainment category on...
Okay. She is trying to debunk the fact that white privilege exists in America. Right? Okay, let's go.
Ahead and debunk this whole white privilege thing. Is there a white entertainment category on Netflix, Hulu, and Prime? No, but there is a black one. Is there a white-owned restaurant category on Uber Eats? No, but there is a black one. Are white people being hired to fill a diversity quota in corporations and companies? No, but black people are. And is there a whole system of affirmative action for white students that puts them in colleges of which they are unfit to attend purely based on their race? No, but there is one for black students. And can white people go out and riot and loot and burn down businesses in the streets while being cheered on by the political left? No, but black people can. White people, don't you dare say a word because you'll be labeled a racist. If you want to know who's in power in your country, think about who you cannot criticize.
Alright, I'm going to just make this one comment. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to be really fast with this one. First of all, do you guys notice how she talks? Is it just me, or does she talk like her mouth is like a certain like? Does she talk like this? Like, do you notice how like when she moves, I'm
That
sure
and
you
debunk this whole white privilege thing.
like her
Is there a
mouth
white
doesn't
entertainment category on Netflix,
like.
Hulu, and
Why does she do
Prime?
like this when she
No,
talks?
but there is a black
Like
one.
her
Is
cheeks
there a
go
white-owned
like,
restaurant category on
like,
Uber Eats?
I don't know why. I don't know why why does she do that? I don't know if she does that on purpose or if it's her half white side or something. I don't know. But okay. White privilege does not exist because Netflix has a specific black section. Netflix and Hulu has a specific black section for black movies and stuff like that. Um, Here's the thing. By default, everything is white. You do not need a white only section because by default, every movie that you'll see is white. The biggest movies that they will promote are white movies made by white directors, white producers, white companies, and white actors. Okay, so them having a special section so you can find a black movie is not debunking white privilege. She says a bunch of other stuff. I really want to get to the affirmative action, like I've said before. All of the stuff. Now, there is absolutely no statistical evidence, no proof whatsoever that black people get into colleges that are and they are less qualified to attend those colleges because of affirmative action. There is no proof of that at all. Okay? That argument is white people are inherently smarter than black people, and the only way black people are anywhere at all isn't because they work hard, it's because of affirmative action. Now notice the loophole. Notice how they always the racial hierarchy, they always keep on top that white people are always better than black people. Because notice that when it's a black person, they go off and they say, black people need to take accountability. Black people need to work harder. It's not white people's fault at all. It's the fact that there's not fathers in the home. It's the baby mama problem. It's the fact that you guys are listening to rap music. It's the fact that you guys aren't working as hard as white people. So when black people aren't succeeding, it's the fact that we are not working as hard as white people. But when black people are succeeding ahead of white people, it's not because we're working harder. Oh, that's unfair. That's unfair. You're not supposed to succeed beyond a white person now. It's this constant loop. If you're behind them, it's your fault. If you're ahead of them, oh, that's not right. You're not supposed to be ahead of them. They're supposed to always be ahead of you. And these conservatives know that. Because they sell their soul, these black conservatives, especially these specific ones, sell their soul to white people. They love white people, okay? White people are their gods. They are their deities, okay? They worship white people. They worship white Jesus. If Jesus was to come back to earth and say, I am not white, they would not be Christian. They would find another religion with a white God. They do not believe in anything besides white supremacy. They have sold their souls. They are not worth life. Not saying anything violent, but if you were to sell your soul for a cause that is inhumane, how much is your life really worth, to be honest? They're not doing this. I don't believe they're doing this. Some people are doing this for clout, but most of them are not. Most of them are doing this because they know it'll make white people happy. Because what they're saying doesn't even make any sense. They act like they're so intelligent, they're so woke, and anybody who disagrees with the fact that racism is bad is a part of the left. But they don't make any sense. And white people don't even like coons. That's the biggest thing. White people use coons, but they don't like them. They don't respect them. You don't ever see on a white conservative channel where a white person shows a clip of their favorite black conservative. You do not see that. White conservatives completely act like black conservatives don't exist at all. They don't. Black conservatives do all they can to suck up to white conservatives. They're sucking up to the white part. It's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic. And it's not that they don't know any better. It's not that they need education. You don't need to sit down and talk to them. They know what they're doing. they are willing to throw their entire race of people under the bus so they can be closer to white people. They recognize racism exists, and that is perfectly fine with them, as long as they live a better life than the rest of the group. They will sell everybody out. They will slit their own mother's throat if a white person asks them to. And that's just what it is. Based off of their actions, that's just what it is. I'm gonna make a series, not just about conservative coons, and I might need to make another one about conservative coons because there's just so damn many. But we're gonna be talking about the liberal coons next. These liberal coons, and then we can be talking about other. We're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff coming up. In April, we made a lot of videos. April was my birthday month. My birthday was on the 30th. So we went hard in April, and we will go harder in May. Watch the video I just told you about, how does slavery still affect us today, because that debunks a whole lot of these black conservatives' arguments, okay? If you want a one-stop shot to know every single thing, watch that one, and watch my first video debunking black on black crime, because those are the only two arguments that they bring up. If you watch both those videos, you will never lose the debate between a black conservative, ever, under any circumstances. Oh, and this one too. You will not lose a debate between them under any circumstances, no matter what they argue. No matter what they argue. I just showed you the proof in this video. Watch those two videos and you'll be invincible to them. So you definitely want to do that. You want to leave a comment, okay? Let me know what you thought about this. Let me know what I should do next. Follow me on my social media because I talk about this stuff all the time. It is J_Elite10 on Instagram and on Twitter. Okay, you can follow me there. I tend to follow people back too, so you know I'm not one of those people. If you're a cool, don't be posting porn and stuff because I won't follow you. Subscribe, and share. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Put this on social media. Maybe take a clip of your favorite part. Do something. Because we all in this together, okay? Well, clearly not all of us. Not them coons. But, you know, us on code, us woke black people, we in this together. But we need to stay black first. Stick together, work together. And we're doing this, okay? A lot of videos in